viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our daily debate. In today's edition, we are going to talk about Egypt and Sudan unifying efforts to face the water rights and to defend their water rights. A very important topic that we are going to discuss tonight with our dear guest in the studio, Ambassador Yasser, Foreign Minister for Sudan and South Sudan Affairs. Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador, for joining us tonight in our daily debate. Good
evening to you, and good evening to the dear viewers, and thank you for having me in your program.
It's our pleasure, Mr. Ambassador. And we start our daily debate with a look at today's headlines, where Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli inspected the construction project of the new hospital in Heliopolis. The Prime Minister said his inspection of several medical facilities comes as a continuation of his frequent visit to the national projects in the medical sector. The Prime Minister noted that the project aims to monitor the implementation phases of the completion of the hospital as soon as possible. He described the facility as a new landmark to the system of providing health care to the citizens. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli also witnessed the inauguration of Cleopatra Hospital in New Cairo, which comes within the framework of a partnership between the public and the private sectors. The inauguration was attended by Deputy Prime Minister for Human Development, Minister of Health, Dr. Khalid Abdel Ghaffar, Governor of Cairo, Ibrahim, Chief of Staff of the Military Work Department, Major General Mu'taz Al-Far, Minister of Health and Population Projects, Sharif Mustafa. Foreign Minister Badr Abdelati held talks with his Jordanian counterpart Ayman Safadi in Amman on Tuesday. The talks also tackled means of promoting cooperation between the two brotherly Arab countries, as well as the latest developments in the region, topping of which was the situation in the Gaza Strip. The two top diplomats emphasized the necessity to adhere to the Gaza ceasefire agreement and fully implement the articles and ensure the immediate, sufficient and sustainable access of aid. The further warned of danger of illegal Israeli measures in the occupied. Minister Abdelati stressed the deep relation binding Egypt and Jordan, as well as the joint coordination on regional issues of mutual concern in order to achieve stability in the Middle East region. And moving on to the topic of our debate for tonight, which is Egypt and Sudan unifying their efforts to defend their water rights.
Water security constitutes one of the most critical challenges in the 21st century as the country considers the water file an existential national security issue, depending almost entirely on the Nile River to meet its freshwater needs. With over 97% of Egypt's renewable water resources originating from the Nile, any disruption to the river's flow directly threatens the state's survival, stability and development prospects. In light of rapid population growth, climate change and increasing regional competition over water resources, Egypt has elevated the Nile water issue to be the highest level of national priority. Downstream state with arid conditions and small rainfall amounts, Egypt relies on the Nile for drinking water, agriculture, electricity generation and food security. The river has historically been the backbone of Egyptian civilization, enabling settlement, economic activity and political continuity for thousands of years. Today, this dependence is even more pronounced as Egypt's population exceeds 100 million people. Any reduction in Egypt's share of Nile water would have severe consequences, including reduced agricultural productivity, increased food imports, unemployment, social instability and heightened risk to public health. Accordingly, Egypt's leadership views water security not merely as a developmental issue, but a matter of national survival. Under the directives of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, Egypt has adopted a comprehensive national and international policy aimed at safeguarding its historical rights, rejecting unilateral action that threaten its water quota, and promoting cooperation with Nile Basin countries in accordance with international law. Such an approach is managing the water file that integrates domestic policies with active international engagement, reflecting Egypt's recognition that water security cannot be ensured through unilateral measures alone.
And to shed more light on this issue of our debate for tonight, we welcome again Ambassador Yasser Sorour, the Assistant Foreign Minister for Sudan and South Sudan Affairs. Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador, for joining us. Indeed, as the President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi always saying that the matter of the water in Egypt is an existential issue of national security and of existence, of course, for the Egyptians. So how this very important matter is reflected on our foreign policy, on our relation with our neighbors and our strategic planning?
Yeah. Let me start by saying that Egypt gets 97% of its water resources from the River Nile, 87% from the Blue Nile, that is shared by Egypt, Sudan and Ethiopia. This issue, as Mr. President, His Excellency, the President of Egypt, always reiterated, it's a matter of existential.
Indeed.
It's an existential issue for Egypt because of the highest dependency on the River Nile. This does not mean that we oppose the development in any riparian country. In our relations with our brothers and sisters in the Nile Basin, we do reiterate this. Yes, you have the right to develop, but also we have our concern has to be taken into consideration.
Yes, indeed.
As the highest country depends on the River Nile. In our foreign policy, we always confirm inventing something new.
Of course.
We confirm our belief in cooperation. Without cooperation, we will not be able to safeguard or preserve the sustainability of this shared water resource, the River Nile.
Of course.
That's why we contributed in founding the Nile Basin initiatives. We worked how to coordinate and better use the available water resources. We coordinate with the other riparian countries in development projects. Even when it comes to constructing dams, and I must say that the current Ethiopian dam, when Egypt and Sudan and Ethiopia discussed it within the MBI framework, the storage capacity of this dam was like 24 billion cubic meters of water. And it was suddenly unilaterally increased to 74 billion cubic meters. Coordination should be based on the principles of international law.
Of course.
That is applied in almost, let's say, 95% of the shared river in the world, including rivers inside Africa,
Yes.
in the continent. And this is what we are asking that these principles should be implemented. We have to be consulted prior notification. Prior notification is not a veto to any riparian country. It's a process that we sit together, discuss the studies of the project, and try to minimize the negative impact of the project as much as we can.
Yes.
And then when we agree, we see how we can benefit from this project and coordinate in order not to harm the other riparian countries.
Yes,
this is applied in everywhere, almost everywhere. And this is what we are asking for. And this is one of the founding pillars of the Egyptian foreign policy when it comes to the water file. Cooperation to sustainability of the river, and this cooperation should be based on the rules and principles of international law. That's our founding principles, and we discuss it clearly and mention it clearly with our brothers and sisters in the Nile Basin countries and around the world as well, to explain our case.
So, how does Egypt actually arrange with Sudan, our neighboring brothers in Sudan, to coordinate politically, technically and diplomatically regarding the water of the Nile and how they manage their shares in the water of the Nile?
Okay. If you look into the statement issued after the visit of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi to Egypt, and he met with His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, President of Sudan, when he met with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, President of Egypt, and the two agreed that the two countries reject any unilateral actions on the Blue Nile. It was a very clear message. Unilateral action is not accepted. If you want to construct, for instance, a dam, the rules has to be applied. And this is what we are asking for. But unilateral action, the two countries clearly, the two leaders clearly rejected any unilateral actions on the Blue Nile.
So that would bring me to ask here, how this common vision by the two states, Egypt and Sudan, is strengthening their position regarding the management of this very critical file?
Of course, you know, when Egypt and Sudan expresses their point of view, their positions regarding a unilateral action by one country, that has its political weight before the whole world, that we as two countries, downstream countries, are rejecting any unilateral action because it has its own negative impacts on us, on our water interests.
Of course.
So, of course, instead of Egypt alone goes to the international community, to the African Union, to the Arab League, to any other, to the United Nations, now we are together, Egypt and Sudan, in rejecting any unilateral actions on the Blue Nile. Which is, of course, has its own political significance.
Yes, that would bring me to ask here, Mr. Ambassador, how this unified stance also is strengthening our position regarding the stability of the whole Nile Basin countries and our relations with the Nile Basin countries as well, not only our stance as Egypt and Sudan, which we are having a common stance and common vision.
I believe there is an understanding from other countries regarding our position. Because what Egypt and Sudan is asking is something it's legitimate. Yes, it's legitimate. We are not denying the right of any riparian Nile Basin countries for development. We are not denying this right. But there is a particular situation, water situation, that should be taken into account. Unfortunately, we do not, the available water resources to Egypt is not much. The 55.5 billion cubic meters that we get annually is not sufficient.
Of course.
I mean, since 1959. So this situation has to be taken into account. To do this, we have to coordinate and cooperate with each other. And not only this, there are several challenges related to water that we have to collectively face and address. No one country can address.
Of course.
Climate change, an increase of floods, for instance. How we are going to address this kind of issues? It's by coordination, by exchanging information, by the dams on the river has to coordinate. Before constructing a dam, I have to see with the other riparians how we are going to do this, to construct these projects, how we can minimize the impact, how can I take or amend the studies in order to preserve your water interest. This is what this cooperation is about. And we sense through our discussions with brothers and sisters in the Nile Basin, no, we sense that there is understanding.
Yes, but yet, sir, we have seen certain violations that have been taking place throughout the past years regarding this very critical issue, and we have seen our position that we will not deter from our position regarding our existential rights. So how here can we increase our cooperation with our brothers in the Nile Basin countries, and in particular with Sudan, in order to try to defend our rights here?
Well, we are coordinating, and as I mentioned before, it's a statement by the two leaders that any unilateral action is rejected by them. That's a very significant political signal that we are sending to everyone. We see the River Nile, this great river, should be a source of cooperation, a source of development, not a source of conflict. And this is the message that we are sending to all the riparian countries. Of course, we cannot live alone.
Of course.
This binding water resources oblige us to cooperate, all of us to cooperate. We have excellent cooperation with the White Nile countries, Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, DRC, Tanzania. This is how it should be.
Yeah, and we did have actually great cooperation with Tanzanian authorities, and we have established a great dam in Tanzania.
Yeah, that proves I'm totally against the narrative that Egypt is against development in the Nile Basin country. I will give you one example.
Yes, please.
When we discussed the current Ethiopian dam within ENTRO, one of the organs of the Nile Basin initiatives, the then Egyptian Minister of Water Resources signed a letter to the World Bank supporting Ethiopia efforts to construct the dam.
Yes.
But the studies that, or the papers that was presented to us, the storage capacity was around 24 billion cubic meters.
Which is not the case on the ground.
Which is not the case now, of course. So that's the point. So if we are against development, why should our Minister of Water Resources sign this kind of letter? Why? He is not obliged to do so.
We accept all sort of development, but without any harm to our existential river.
Absolutely. We have to take our concerns, the concerns of everyone, into consideration. And we work together. That's what we are asking for.
Indeed. Mr. Ambassador, what are here the diplomatic tools that Egypt are using in order to try to restore our rights without our relation with our Nile-based countries, brothers in general?
Of course, I mean, the diplomatic tools, I mean, it has no limit.
Indeed.
We have many regional international organizations that we are members, Arab League, the African Union, the United Nations. We went several times, or 3 or 2 times, to the Security Council, explaining to them, to this organ responsible of international security, how this could impact the stability in the region. And we explained to them our water situation. We cannot afford any harm to our water interest. We can't. We cannot put the life of more than 110 million Egyptians at stake. We cannot do that.
Indeed.
So we are taking every measure to defend our rights, our brothers and sisters in Sudan. As I mentioned, they clearly stated their position that they reject any unilateral actions on the Blue Nile.
Yes. Sir, we need here to do quite a balance, and how we are doing that to be committed to the diplomatic channels and to our cooperation and relations with our neighbors in the Nile Basin countries, and yet to try to protect our existential rights in our shares of the Nile water, which is a very, very critical balance here to be achieved.
Yeah, of course, it's a very critical balance. And we continue communicate with the other countries, exchange visits at the highest possible levels. Last year, President Museveni visited Egypt, and of course this issue was on the table, and we discussed it. His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, of course, discussed this matter at the level of the Minister of Foreign Affairs,
Indeed.
in direct communication with his counterparts in the other riparian countries, explaining the situation, discussing how we can move forward. For instance, the cooperative framework agreement that we have some concerns. We discuss with other riparian countries how we can move together, how we can solve the issues or concerns that we have regarding this document. In our contacts, at the presidency level, at the ministerial level, this is what we do, and explain our position. The other are receptive, listening to what we are saying, and they see the logic behind it.
Yes. Mr. Ambassador, we have seen you as President Donald Trump during his speeches in Davos talking about the Egyptian rights in the water of the Nile, and how he is trying here to find a solution for the situation of Egypt regarding this very important file. How these statements by the U.S. President can actually help in solving this very rigid and complicated matter, which have been stalled for quite...
I agree with you. It's extremely, extremely difficult and complicated issue.
Indeed.
Of course, I mean, it was His Excellency President of Egypt has reacted to what His Excellency President Trump has said.
Yes.
And of course we welcome we appreciate the interest of President Trump to solve the problem.
Yes.
And see how we can move forward with this file. Some elements, of course, a comprehensive element that is needed.
Of course.
And of course, this is what we are looking for. I must say that during the first before the end of the first mandate of President Trump, we were almost 2 steps further
from ending this problem.
This problem and reaching a fair and balanced agreement. But unfortunately, Ethiopia did not show up.
Yes. Sir, a fair and balanced agreement, and I will take it from you here. Do you expect that could be reached with maybe the mediation of some foreign countries like the United States, and maybe by their interference, we can actually find here a fair and balanced agreement between Egypt and Ethiopia regarding this issue?
First of all, it's not between Egypt and Ethiopia.
Yes.
It's Egypt, Sudan and Ethiopia.
Yes.
We have to be clear. I mean,
indeed.
the difference, the difference is not between Egypt and Ethiopia.
Yes.
Because the Blue Nile is shared between Egypt, Sudan and Ethiopia.
Of course. Yes.
What I mean by fair and balanced agreement, legally binding agreement, is an agreement that enables Ethiopia to generate electricity and satisfy its need from power. And on the other hand, does not harm the water interests
of Egypt
and
and
rights
Sudan.
of Egypt and Sudan.
Indeed.
That's the fair and balanced agreement. Second is, the hydrological conditions of the river changing during time. If there is drought, prolonged drought, what are we going to do? Taking into account 97% dependency on the river Nile. This is an issue that I cannot postpone. It has to be mentioned clearly in any agreement. What are we going to do when we face such hydrological conditions? That's crucial, essential to me, to the country.
Indeed.
Mediation, or we will see. I mean, President Trump has mentioned it several times,
yes,
and we have to wait and see what his efforts will come out with.
Sir, the situation in Sudan. Egypt has always been mentioning that the situation in Sudan is a matter of national security for Egypt. And how this situation in Sudan is playing a role as well, and our concern of the situation in Sudan is playing a role in our common vision and our common interest here regarding the file of the water as well.
Yeah, thank you for this question. I can say that the coordination between the two countries in this file is enhancing progressively. Last year we convened the 2+2 meeting, the two ministers of foreign affairs and the minister of water resources, and the joint statement was very, very clear about the position of the two countries towards the Ethiopian dam and towards the any further unilateral actions. And this is very important. Secondly, it's not only related to water. The national security of Egypt is not only about water, it's about also
the situation
in Sudan and its impact on the stability of the region.
Indeed.
You know, after the outbreak of war, you cannot imagine the number of Sudanese brothers and sisters from Sudan fled Sudan to save their lives. And this is, of course, you know, as the special relations between Egypt and Sudan does not allow us but to actively engage in any efforts to end the war in Sudan. We cannot afford the failure or the fall of the national institution of Sudan. We cannot afford this. The situation, if this God forbidden happens, the situation would be catastrophic.
Indeed. Mr. Ambassador, we have seen also Foreign Minister Badr Abdulati during a press conference with the UN Special Envoy for Sudan during the joint press conference which was held a few weeks ago in Egypt. He talked about that the security of Sudan is of great concern to Egypt. It's a part of our national security, and we would not accept to see the fall of Sudan or any of its institutions. So how that is of a red line to Egypt, we would never accept the fall of and how do you see the cooperation regarding this very important file for Egypt?
You know, first of all, we are members, as Egypt, we are members of many initiatives related to Sudan. And we coordinate with our regional and international partners in order to end the war in Sudan. And this, of course, we have our founding principles towards Sudan. Unity, territorial integrity of Sudan, the preservation of the national institutions of Sudan. We have to terminate the illegal flow of arms to Sudan.
Of course.
We are working within the Quad and other initiatives in order to reach a humanitarian truce in Sudan as a first step to alleviate the suffering of the Sudanese people. This is what we are trying to do, to achieve.
Indeed. Sir, why are Egypt and Sudan relations considered central to Egypt's water security strategy, and how does this position shape their common interest as well?
I will say it again.
Yes.
The relations between Egypt and Sudan is not only about water. I mean, it's one of the files,
yes,
but it's not the only file. There are other aspects of the relations between Egypt and Sudan. We have the security of the Red Sea.
Of course.
We have trade, investments, security of the Horn of Africa, and of course the water. So
all very critical files.
It's our destiny.
Yes.
I mean, it's the destiny of Egypt. So, and we have to cooperate in these files. One of which, of course, I'm not saying this does not mean that we do not give importance to the water file. On the contrary, but it's one of the aspects of the relations between Egypt and Sudan. And Egypt and Sudan are bound by the 1959 agreement. that established the Joint Commission
Yes.
for the River Nile, discuss the many technical aspects regarding the River Nile and how the two cooperate in this file.
Yes. Sir, you have just mentioned a very important file that I cannot not discuss here. And so how do you see here the cooperation between Egypt and Sudan regarding these very important files like the situation in the Horn of Africa and the situation, of course, the security of the Red Sea, which are actually also related here, both as the security of the navigation in the Red Sea and, of course, the situation in the Horn of Africa?
Of course, you know, during our discussions with Sudan, for instance, at the level of the ministers of foreign affairs,
yes,
we do highlight some of the issues, and we can work together to address it. Of course, one of which is the security of the Red Sea. That's something very important. And how we can avoid or how to increase the cooperation in this field.
Of course.
Add to it the Horn of Africa security. And this is one, maybe it's one of the critical reasons why we continue to reiterate the rejection of Egypt of the division of Sudan. The unity and territorial integrity of Sudan is crucial, and it's not even on the table. The division of Sudan,
it was said clearly by President Sisi, by Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati.
Because it's not going to stop. If this, God forbidden, happens, it's not going to stop on a particular area in Sudan.
Yes.
It's going to be spill over to other neighboring countries, which definitely will have its own impact on the security and the Horn of Africa.
So to what extent, talking about Egypt's security and stability, Sudan's security and stability, to what extent they are here related? And as the President is always mentioning, the security of Egypt is part and parcel of the security of Sudan.
Sudan is direct neighbor. If, God forbidden, as I said before, national institution collapsed, you cannot imagine the flow that you will receive from the Sudanese. You cannot imagine the instability that we are going to face in the region. And this, of course, has direct link to the national security of Egypt. That's why preserving the country,
of course,
is in our benefit. Unity and territorial integrity and stability, of course, in Sudan is in our benefit.
Of course. What should be here the step taken on the ground, sir, in order to try to find the best solution here for both Egypt and Sudan regarding many files, the files of security and indeed the file of great importance for both countries, which is the file of the water?
Yeah. The imminent goal is to stop the war. That's what we are working on now.
Indeed.
Reaching humanitarian truce, followed by permanent ceasefire, and then launching a political process owned by the Sudanese. And we underline this, it should be owned by the Sudanese. No one will impose anything on the Sudanese people.
Of course.
They have to determine their political system, their constitution, how they are going to elect the president, select the government. It's up to them to decide. We are here to facilitate the process. And I will mention in 2024, when we hosted the Cairo conference for the Sudanese political and civilian forces. It was one of the steps Egypt is taking to facilitate or to assist these political forces to bridge the gap.
Indeed.
And hopefully we will be able to convene the second version of Cairo conference. But still the ground is not ready yet to convene this conference. But the preparation is going on. Bringing the political forces together, talk to each other, discuss issues of priority to them, so that the outcome of Cairo 2 is clear.
Indeed, very important files that we are handling here, but hopefully we'll find for both Egypt and Sudan for the best of our nations. Ambassador Yasser Sorour, Assistant Foreign Minister for Sudan and South Sudan. It was a real pleasure to have you with us tonight, sir. Thank you very much for your precious input.
Pleasure is mine. Thank you very much, and I hope I was able to explain to your viewers some of the elements related to Sudan and the River Nile and what we are doing as a state to defend our Thank you very much.
It's great efforts, sir, exerted by the Foreign Ministry and indeed to facilitate and to try to find a solution for these very critical issues. Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you. Thank
our
you very
dear
much.
viewers, with that we come to the end of our daily debate for tonight. Many thanks for watching.